Hey there. Welcome back to The Evil Within 2. We have our shotgun, we're in the marrow, and there's gonna be some resistance on our way out, so let's put our firearms to the test, shall we? Although, maybe in this situation, stealth is a better option. Whoops! I hit the wrong button, but it turned into a teaching moment. And the lesson is that headshots with the shotgun are extremely effective. Something I like about The Evil Within 2 that I'm glad carried over from the first game is that the UI completely disappears when you don't need it. I really like when games do that. You might notice that when I'm just running around like this, there are no indicators on the screen at all, and that really adds to the immersion. But what it results in is, sometimes hitting the wrong button, because there's no indicators, so I forget which button is the cover button. Oh boy. Close one. Although, I think this guy on the left here is gonna see me. Uh-oh. Well, that went well. You're gonna see me doing that a lot. Sprinting away from an enemy while keeping the camera on them so that I can just snap right to aiming at their head. Oh-ho! Another key is mine. I did that in The Evil Within 1 a lot as well. There were moments where I would run away from an enemy and then hold the aim button, which would cause Sebastian to just instantly do this corkscrew so that he was facing the enemy again. And that still works here in The Evil Within 2, so I'm going to keep doing it. It's actually not super beneficial because you might have noticed that enemies close the gap real fast when you stop sprinting away from them. So, it probably would have been better to kill that guy with my axe, but I'm saving the axe for something else in this very episode, so you gotta save the axes, because they're not super rare here at the start of the game, but I think the developers kind of realized that axes are still really powerful, which is why they don't really kill enemies in one hit anymore usually, is because they needed that nerf, I suppose, anyway. But they also become a little bit rarer as the game goes on, because we might start meeting some people who are slightly more resilient to Sebastian's mighty torque powers. I mean, swinging an axe hard enough to take off somebody's head probably takes a lot of arm strength. The thread was discussing this. Sebastian has got a lot of leg and arm strength because he crouch walks everywhere, he shoots guns for hours on end without getting tired, he's got rock steady aim once you upgrade it a little bit. He's a powerhouse. He exercises. So, now we get to go and get our hands on that sniper rifle, since we know where the parts are now. Oh. So we'll be doing that in this episode, I believe. Either this one or the next one. We've got a little bit of running around to do before we're ready to go and save our daughter. Uh-oh. So remember that thing I was using the axe for? Unfortunately, I had to use it there. But this guy has one, so we are, hopefully, about to get our hands on another one. That's something that I kind of like, that they didn't do in The Evil Within 1 for some reason. Enemies that carry axes in this game drop an axe when they die. So if if an enemy is wielding an axe, you know you're going to get your hands on one. So if you have one, you might as well use it on them. It's one of those little changes that really matters, I think. What have we here? Oh, come on. That's not fooling anybody. Look at that. Pathetic. So when you shoot an enemy in the head and they do that stagger thing where they have like the gross wormies coming out of their head, they are actually invincible during that little animation. Or at least they take way less damage. So it's better to wait until they get back into their state where they're shambling after you to start shooting at them again. But that is not the case when you shoot an enemy who is asleep.
It's coming. It's coming. Walls won't stop it. Doors won't stop it. Nothing will. Can't hide from it. It's coming.
That doesn't sound like any of the other ones.
No, it doesn't. Maybe let's give that one a wide berth for a while, because that sure doesn't sound good. But yeah, enemies that are just kind of hanging out pretending to be asleep, they'll wake up if you get too close or do something, I don't know, scripted, like pick up a convenient ammo drop. But if they're asleep, you can shoot them all you want, and they won't be able to go invincible. I don't know what just happened to Sebastian's arms there. You might want to rewind that, because sometimes Sebastian's body will do some very weird things, and I don't understand them. Also, I've got bad news. My cover's been blown. Thankfully, though, the enemies out here in the open world, they give up the chase pretty fast. See another statue here. I'll just take this while we're running away from these horrible creatures. I mentioned this a while back, but that's kind of one of the downsides of the open world, I suppose, is that the enemies have a very tight leash, so you can escape a lot of the enemies in this game by just running away from them. Like, enemies in the open world are only really threatening when they have you stuck in a corner, you see. If you're not stuck in a corner, you can just run away and, like, put a physical object between you and them, like a house or a tree or something, and they'll lose interest and go back to where they're supposed to be pretty fast. It's kind of a shame. However, I understand why, because they don't want you to be running around pursued by 1,000 enemies that you can't shake off, so they had to make the enemies be a little bit stupider, just to make it so that it's a little bit more fair for the player. Because you may recall that a situation we encountered frequently in the first game was that there were a lot of enemies after me, and I couldn't really do anything about it, because you can't really stop and shoot them. So they've cut. Did that door just open for me? That's weird.
What's that?
Oh my. Seems someone might be in distress. Perhaps we should go and take a look. And not open that truck, because I don't like the noises that are coming from in there. And hey, look! It's a reference to the first game. We can still smack vending machines like the Fonz and get gel out of them. How about that? Remember that? Unfortunately, there aren't any fun Easter eggs related to the vending machines this time, though.
Supplies of every cache is overrun with those things.
But anyway, yeah, they've done a lot to reduce the chances of being pursued by a lot of enemies that you can't fight happening in this game. And I feel like it is mostly to its benefit, but occasionally it can be a detriment because it makes encounters a little bit less exciting in the open world. So before we investigate this signal, let's check out this car alarm because, I mean, it went off for a reason. Someone has to be over here. If you see any of these big white trucks around, you can open them. Usually they'll have supplies in them. Sometimes they're empty, and that one that's rattling around over there on my right may or may not have some spookies inside it. I don't know. Who knows?
I need this worse than you do, pal.
Well, hello, beautiful. Not the corpse. Oh boy. I'll just take that laser-sighted handgun, thank you. And hold that thought. Ooh. Look at that! We've got a new gun! It's like Resident Evil all over again. So the laser-sighted handgun is basically from Resident Evil 4. It has a pinpoint accurate laser sight dot, which makes it actually better than the normal pistol because it has that swaying crosshair. Well, with the laser sight, Sebastian's arm sways instead, which causes the laser sight to wobble a little bit, just like in Resident Evil. But with that said, I'm actually not going to be using it. I like the laser-sighted handgun. I think it's a really cool idea, but I don't fight enemies from far enough away that it's really worth it. I like the crosshair a lot better, because the crosshair is always the same size, but the laser sight dot changes in size based on the distance from the enemy, so it really depends on your playstyle. If you like sniping enemies from far off with the pistol, then it is a great choice. But not one for me. We will occasionally use it, though, for that purpose. Just not, as my main standard weapon. Stat-wise, I think it's the same to the normal pistol. It's just an alternative choice. So, okay. This other rogue signal guy. Let's hope he's not, keeping a bunch of civilians locked up in his basement or something. I believe he said there were weapons here.
Every cache is overrun with those things.
Shit. How am I supposed to get supplies if every cache is overrun with those things? Should do it. You're not getting out of there, shitheels. James, it's Ryan. Come in. I locked a bunch of those things in the room underneath the auto body shop. I'm heading to the visitor center now. James, do you copy? Shit.
There's a supply cache under here? I gotta get down there.
Yes, we do. Which
New
means...
signal.
Oh,
James, where the fuck are you? Get your ass to the visitor center. You're never gonna believe.
Visitor center it is.
I guess that's where we're headed. After we do this. Boink. So you can put waypoints on your map, which will mark them on your physical screen, so you don't have to go to the map to... you don't have to actually go to the map to look at where they are, which is nice. I don't think I really need to explain this minigame. I think you get the gist of it. It's another one that's pretty cool, but not entirely necessary, but it's nice anyway. Oh boy. Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting haunted. Ooh. Boy, they sure do take a lot of punishment, these ladies. They're not... They don't give up without a fight, I gotta say. I admire their stick-to-itiveness, I suppose. So there's a number of ways to handle the knife-wielding ladies. They don't... The best way is to stealth kill them once and then sneak around and get them again. But you can also do what I did and just shotgun them in the face until they die. I've found that works for a lot of the enemies in this game. Shotgun them in the face until they die. As usual for video games, the shotgun is the best weapon. So great. There are allegedly a lot of them down here, so I'm really looking forward to this.
I don't understand. Oh, whoa! Don't point that thing at me!
Ted, where are you? I've been looking for you all over the place. Shit, John. What are you doing down here? I'm supposed to see this. I don't understand. Whoa! Don't point that thing at me. We're best friends, man. Come on. I know. And that makes what I have to do even harder. Stop joking around, man. Sorry, John. But I have to do this. Mobius doesn't allow for mistakes. Mobius? What on earth is Mobius?
Huh. Well, that's an interesting development. It seems that even inside of STEM, the Union citizens aren't allowed to know about Mobius. I suppose the idea is that they are trying to create a world where nobody knows that they're in a simulation, Matrix style. I suppose this is an extension of how STEM was in the first game, where, for the first part of it at least, Sebastian was a little unclear about what was and wasn't real. Dr. Jimenez cleared it up for him pretty fast, but for a while it was a little bit sketchy. I suppose they've turned that sketchiness into their MO.
What's this? Some kind of cipher?
Okay. Oh! Not okay. Never mind, it's okay again. I got a feeling we're not going to be alone for very long, so maybe let's loot this place and get out of here. But yeah, interesting. The Mobius operatives, I guess, were trying to integrate themselves into the city to appear like normal citizens, doing business behind the scenes, while also keeping the existence of Mobius and the Marrow separate from the citizens. Which I suppose makes some sense, but that seems pretty difficult to me. Explosive bolts are back, and now they function as tripwires, so that's pretty cool. And there's the report on the unfortunate gentleman who wandered his way down here. How he got down here, I have no idea. But, hey, I suppose he was dealt with summarily. Got ourselves another minigame. The code on the door corresponds to the numbers we have to put in on the key card, you see. Boy, they're introducing a lot of new concepts in this episode. I barely have time to explain it all. The Evil Within 2 is really interesting in how it doles out new items, weapons, concepts like the minigames and all that stuff. It plays a lot of its hand early. But I feel like that's actually a good thing. I feel like that's kind of in its favor. So, Sebastian stands up when you take out the bottle, just like he does in the first game, and guess who forgot about that? Oh, now we've made mistakes. We've made mistakes on this day. Thankfully, though, recovering isn't too difficult. So yeah, remember those exploding tripwire traps from the first game? Well, with our new Warden crossbow, we can do those for ourselves and trap enemies with them. It's not too useful, because really a lot of the times when you trap an enemy you could just kill them instead, but it does make for some fun gameplay interaction. For example, you can just put them on the floor and make actual mines. It's kind of neat. It's a neat compromise. They added additional functionality in the form of the tripwires without taking away the functionality that it already had in the form of putting them on the floor to make traps. It's pretty cool. I really appreciate how this game expands the gameplay without taking away the stuff that was already there and would still be useful. Because there's a lot of situations where putting a mine on the floor is really important, instead of making like a tripwire across a room or something. And I'm glad that they recognize that players would still want to do that sometimes. So yeah, okay, that was pretty worth it. We got some new tools, we got a whole bunch of supplies, and we blew ourselves up and looked really stupid. And I bet that made you laugh. So it was all a worthwhile endeavor. You might notice that the game is kind of front-loading the supplies that we're being given here. Well, that's because I'm doing these side quests as we come across them. But you can do them pretty much whenever, which I think is kind of cool. These side quests aren't gonna go away if we like progress the story or anything like that. So all we really need to do is go to the gas station and find Lily. But we can do that whenever we want, mixing in the side quests and all that stuff. They don't have like an expiry date or anything like that. And I feel like that was a very good decision on their part.
Gotta be quiet. Something chasing me. Was it a ghost?
Huh. Well, that sounds like the same person from before. Talking about being followed by ghosts and stuff. I don't know if I like that. Can I just say that I really appreciate that they give you the opportunity to stomp on enemies that are on the floor no matter what. Like, okay, we did it in the second episode, I believe, where I knocked over the enemies with the electricity and then we stomped on them. But you can do that to any enemy who is on the ground, which means that shooting enemies in the legs to knock them over is a viable alternative to shooting them in the head, because in games like, say, Resident Evil, for example, you can't do that. You can't stomp on an enemy who's on the floor. But this game allows you to take care of them in that way, so that you don't have to waste extra ammo shooting them when they're on the ground. Because again, they've acknowledged that you've already neutralized the enemy, so you don't have to worry about it anymore. What have we here?
Quiet. Something chasing me. Gotta be quiet. Something chasing me. Was it a ghost? It doesn't look like those other things. What's going on? I can't deal with this. I can't. Shh. I gotta calm down. Can't let it hear me. This train is the only way out of Union. Why isn't it running? Where is everybody? Who's that? Oh God.
Well, that's a little unnerving. I certainly hope we don't ever run into whatever the hell that is. Well, hey, that's nice. Red gel allows us to unlock new branches of upgrades for Sebastian, which gives us more... Good evening, Union citizens. This is Chad Jacobson, MOB 1U5, Union Radio. It's a calm evening tonight. Clear skies, not a cloud to be seen. Perfect for setting up some chairs in the backyard and watching the stars. Moderate temperatures, as always. Thank goodness for that small town weather, am I right? Gonna hit the music now as I hit the hay. But it's always nice spending the evening with you folks. This is Linger by the Cranberries. See you all tomorrow morning. Good night, and good luck. Opportunities to upgrade your Sebastian. Where the hell are we? Where? Oh, whatever. I guess I didn't have anything to say there anyway.
Is this meant for me?
I'd certainly hope so. The butterfly's a little conspicuous. Okay, random message etched into a wall. I guess we'll be a little careful. Huh. Nobody here.
I recognize this work. It's him again.
Oh, God. More sick headshots from local artists. And not the kind of headshots that you put on film.
Look, man, just let me go. I can take you somewhere safe. We've got supplies. Stick with me. I can get you out of here.
Safe? What's interesting about safe? Why would I want to leave here? This place is a work in progress, but soon it will be perfect. All it requires is my inspiration and your blood.
What the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
Don't move.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Help! Somebody help me!
I said don't move.
Fucking yikes.
Ryan.
I guess that's what you get for your betrayal,
Take a
pal.
picture of the victim.
I feel like that's some kind of comeuppance. Maybe not the kind of comeuppance I'd like to run into in person, but I think it's safe to say that these guys deserved it.
Another communicator. Must be Ryan's. Mobius team members. They might have something useful on them.
And so we have our reward for this quest. We have now marked a bunch of Mobius operatives on our map, and this holds true for most of the hubs we're going to visit. We now have the location of several Mobius operatives directly on the map already, so we don't have to find them with the communicator, including those sniper rifle parts. So in the next episode, we'll go off and find those.
Damn it. Where did he go?
Oh dear. It's quiet. Too quiet.
What the hell is this supposed to be? It's sick.
Uh-oh. Well, we've walked into an ambush. Sort of. We've been teleported into an ambush. Good luck, Sebastian. We can't get out of here until we take care of these enemies, but thankfully they don't start alerted to you, which is something that the Evil Within 1 did a lot, and it was very annoying. This game does not do that. Whenever you get caught in an ambush, the enemies start unaware of you unless they're plopped directly in front of you. So, it allows you to try and exercise your stealth options before things go too horribly awry. Whew! Just like old times, huh, buddy? I'm not really a fan of this artist guy's Phantom Zone. This is not a place where I'd want to spend my time.
This is obscene.
I agree. I wouldn't say that it's art either. Big interest in snuff films, this guy. It's not great. His work, it's not great. But then again, who am I to judge? I suppose in the end, art is subjective.